Okay. Welcome everybody to
Just
the Stats. Oh, go ahead.
I thought we were all doing it together, but I guess we're not.
Well, this is your tagline. Tell us. Go ahead and say it.
That's all right.
Go ahead.
Just the stats, Jack.
Who's Jack, by the way? Is that an old boyfriend of yours?
Maybe.
I don't know. Something. Just the
I own a
stats.
lot.
Yeah. February 2021. Has it been a crazy year so far, or what?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It has. So we want to talk a lot about what's happening right now. If you own a house, what's the value of your house doing? If you're buying a house, how the heck do you get a house bought when things are going so fast, right? And what's the future look like, right? Who's got their crystal ball? Anyone? Anyone? We'll see. So let's look at the February 2021 market. Just the month of February last year, there was 164 homes sold. This year, we went down 150 to 153.
So second month in a row.
Second month in a row where we've had decreased houses sold.
Yep.
But there feels like there's more activity. So does it feel like there's less buyers or more buyers right now than last year?
I'd still say more.
More buyers probably, right?
As we look at inventory, we'll probably see what the problem is.
Yeah.
But it will be interesting because there's a little new interesting twist today in inventory. So.
Yes, good point. So yeah, 7% decrease year over year just for the month of February. And so when you look at that, you say, wow, less transactions, less homes sold, more buyers. There's even more compression, more pressure on prices to go up because there's more people trying to get the limited number of homes for sale. Let's look at the nationwide. This is a good chart that we like to look at on a monthly basis. Nationwide in 2019 is the yellow, and the purple is 2020. And so for most of the months in 2020, it was higher, and that's in millions, right, Jessica?
Millions, correct.
So
No, monthly. This isn't thousands. Monthly.
Monthly. So that's thousands. That's a good point. So in every month you see at the end of last year especially, it really had a ton more homes sold. And so it's kind of a, people are starting to get their house on the market.
Well, what's interesting in this slide too also is the winter, right? You look at this and this does not match what we normally see as seasonality in real estate, right?
Good point.
We see increase going up toward the winter.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's a great point. This is an interesting slide because if you look at the number of months that real estate was up from 2002 to 2006, and then we started decreasing, how many months or how many years was real estate increasing here? 5 years. How many years of increase have we had so far on this run? 5. So does that mean that we're going to be seeing things go down?
Who has the crystal ball?
Who has the crystal ball, right? To me, there's no indication that things are going to change and go down like it did in 2007 because we're doing smart financing. There's tons of buyers still on the market. There are still homes for sale and still things happening, right?
Well, I remember back in the 03 to 05 area, Jeremy, you and I might be the only ones
old enough
to remember this, but we were in the business back then, and I remember anybody could get financing. Anybody could buy a house. Anybody, and so when you saw this change, they stopped giving money to just anybody.
Just anybody.
So I don't see that happening because that is not the situation we are in now.
Yeah. So if you did have a crystal ball, you'd probably say, I'm not too worried about a decrease right now.
If there's a decrease, I think it only will be as a result of lack of inventory.
Lack of inventory or increase in
interest
rates. Or some sort of governmental action.
Right.
Or outside something that comes in, disrupts everything.
But I don't see a crash.
Brian, what do you think?
Well, I mean, part of what we're seeing here too is, if you date back to 2007, there was, 11 months of inventory on the market. And so that's a really bonkers market in the other direction where typically you expect 180 days of inventory to be a healthy market. But here in Eastern Idaho, we're sitting at, 6 days of inventory?
We're in that slide.
And so it's just, man, there's there are no homes on the market. So how can you expect a crash when we can't even keep up with the amount of buyers?
That's a good point.
Really good point.
And that makes it strong. The market's still strong.
Right.
Yeah.
So look at how fast properties are selling. Homes
So these are the
selling.
sold homes for February.
Well, you want to explain this, Jessica?
Yeah, so this is just a breakdown here by 100,000 of what sold in February. So when we looked at the number of homes, 156, this is how it broke down. So in this idea, we only had 3 houses sell under $100,000 in February, but we're hitting real hard between 200,000 and $500,000.
Yeah.
But that 200 to 300, man, if you guys are shopping in that area, what does it feel like? What does it feel like if your buyer's in the $200,000 to $300,000 price range?
You've got to be really aggressive and to have really good strategies in order to win those deals.
Yep.
And you
Yeah.
have to be ready because they're not going to sit around. You can't go look at 10 houses and then go back to number 1.
Well, and what's a challenge too is because we have
Excellent.
Yes, Abby.
we have a lot of clients that are coming from out of town and they want to be here in order to like look at 5 or 6 homes and then make a decision. At the end of the day, those homes that they're seeing online or through their research or through our research now are not going to be there on Thursday when they get here. So it's having confidence in your agent that they're going to be a straight shooter and be realistic about the home and be able to get it under contract before you actually are present.
Yeah.
Well, and I think about that is the same concept of when people are saying, hey, I want to look online and then I want to come and see those homes. They send you, hey, I like this home, I like this home. You're like, that is great. That home will be sold tomorrow. That home will be sold tomorrow. We'll start shopping when you arrive.
That's a good
Right?
point. Yeah. You've got to be ready. You've got to be educated because not every single house is the same, but you can see what's happening ahead of time. But then you've got to be able to make a decision as soon as it comes up.
Yeah.
Well, and just to,
Abby, go ahead.
I'm going to pivot just a little bit. And
Yeah.
sorry to go off topic, but when you look at the average days on market, you're seeing like the homes in, just as an example, 300 to 400. And the days on market are hefty. It's 39. But we've got some challenges like with lending. We also have people that come and maybe they've been misled about what the quality of the home is, and so people are backing out. I don't know what the statistic is. It's like a quarter of the homes come back on the market these days. So looking at 39 days on market, that's not realistic. We're looking at 2 to 3 days and sometimes just 1 day. And so it's really a challenge, especially, you know, that 200 to 400.
Well, you know, and I think that's a really good point because when someone glances at it, they're like, well, it isn't as fast as you're saying. But this takes into account any pendings, fallouts coming back on the market, pendings, fallouts coming back on the market. All of that's accounted in there.
And that fallout just kills everybody. It makes it, buyers get exhausted and sellers get exhausted because 1 out of 5 deals will fall apart. And so we are very experienced now in how to keep deals together from the start to the end.
Yep.
Let's look at year over year. Year to date, here is the number of transactions or homes sold through February.
So here's where you see the indication of both January and February both being lower.
Combined, seeing that little decrease that you're talking about in every month. So here comes the compression, 22% decrease. So there's less homes selling, but buyer activity hasn't slowed down. So there's just this squeeze in there that prices just continue to go up.
Yeah.
And when prices go up, what does that mean to your monthly payment, typically? It goes up too, right?
Well,
And yeah, sure. And then if prices are going up, does your income automatically follow the price of houses?
No.
Not necessarily. So affordability also takes a hit, right? And so if you look at home prices over time, this is the annual median home price in thousands. You can see that it has been increasing since '89.
So on this, Jeremy, I think the biggest thing, this slide should be a comfort to anyone who's worried about the value of the house crashing.
Yeah.
This is a comfort because that yellow line says if we just steadily increased 4% over time always, not up and down, not up and down, just a steady, consistent 4%, we are still below what we would have been if we didn't dip down and come back.
Yeah. And so this affordability on top of that is, man, if houses keep increasing and my income isn't following it as much, let's look at how your monthly payment is kind of affected. Because if in January last year, rates were 3.62, and now, look at this, 2.68.
So I have a thought on that too. I've wondered if people were willing to pay more to win the deal because the interest rates were low and it didn't change their payment that much to go up another 10.
Yeah.
That was what, $4 to $5?
$4 to $5
$4 to $5
a month, yeah.
So why don't I lap on another 10
Yeah.
to win this deal? And that takes us up when that rate goes down.
Yeah. So affordability is affected no matter what. Prices go up, rates go up, you're double the expense.
We're in trouble.
Hunter had a couple of good ideas on exactly how that works.
Exactly, Jess. I mean, people are looking at the market. They're seeing increased prices in these homes. But, you know, you look at it even a few years ago, you were sitting around, you know, for $250,000, let's just take a monthly payment of $1,200 per month. For a $250,000 home, you were going to be $1,200. You know, now we look at 2.68. That same $1,200 is going to get you north of $300,000. So people are, you know, competing in this market, and they're seeing these prices and the interest rates, and they're saying, well, I'm okay to go an extra $5,000 or $10,000 because in the long run, it's not going to make a huge dent in my payment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you look at this slide, it's almost exactly what Hunter says. That payment in January was nearly the same as this payment in December.
Yeah.
Not that much different. And with that change in price, and that's a different house.
Yeah. And so things are still affordable.
Yep.
Right? So what if rates go way up? It's going to get tough, right?
Yeah.
And I think that might be where we will see maybe a shift in the market because we've had 10 years of increase, really. And you'll see that on here. So February, here is the average price just for the month of February. Look at that, 32% increase from last year's February.
So I might mention, just so you guys, everyone knows, this is Bonneville, Bingham, Jefferson County combined.
Good point.
So homes in Bonneville, Bingham, and Jefferson County. Single family homes, condos, twin homes, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's just the 1 month, but let's see year to date is about
Still
the same.
Significant.
So as we are seeing transaction numbers or number of houses decrease that are selling, we're just seeing the prices go up. And so it's not slowing down. It's a great time to buy and to sell right now, which, you know, we've done this for over 20 years and we have never seen a market like this in our area, and it's pretty exciting.
Well, if you ever want to say, when do you buy and sell? You want to sell high, buy low.
Yeah.
We are selling high and buying at a low interest rate. We are in that moment.
Sweet spot.
Well, some people say if I sell my house right now, I'm going to have to buy a house that's higher. But if you've had your loan for what was the last time that interest rate was high, was a percent higher.
Oh.
If your interest rate on your current home is 1%, 2%, 3% higher, and you sell it for $100,000 more, then you buy something with a lower interest rate, then either you're breaking even or you're making money.
Plus, you've got the equity to add into it.
Plus, you have all that equity.
True.
So people say, I can't sell my house because then I have to buy an expensive house. Yeah, but if you cut your interest rate in half, you're getting a more expensive house with the exact same payment.
So
Man.
true.
Well, another
Win, win,
thing
win.
to bear in mind, too, is that you got to think about the house that you're in right now. Is that your dream house?
Mm-hmm.
Is that 100% your house that you are going to retire in and stay in? Because if it's not, you might want to take advantage of the 50-year low right now on rates. For sure.
Yeah.
Because if
For
it's not your dream
sure.
house, buy now. Because you're going to have to buy later. It's going to be more expensive, and rates are going to be higher. It's going to be a double whammy. And so
Well, what I
buy now.
also like about that, Ashley, is if you decide to go up in price, because a lot of times as you go, you might take a quality jump up. Look at the difference in those days on market, and it's not as competitive in that higher price point. If you're getting a lower interest rate, you're putting all your equity into the next house, it's your chance to go up in price and maybe maintain the affordability.
That's right.
Really good time to sell.
Great. Here is the annual appreciation on a national basis. So you can see that over time, you're always going to win, but there are dips, right? Look at this period in between 2006 and 2011. There was an overall decrease. And that had a lot of factors that made the market tank like that. But since 2011, we have only gone up.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And so
And historically. I mean, we're talking from 89 to now. That's the only dip. And it came back in 5 years.
Yeah. So if we look at the period before that, 89 to 2004, that's a lot of years of increase, that there was never a dip. So if we look beyond 2021, but look at this jump in between 19 and 20. That's a big one, right?
It is.
And so we would rather see it gradual, but we just had a big
Well, right
jump.
there, that was an interest rate drop. Right? We saw that in that graph.
Yeah, good point.
19 to 20, we watched those rates drop, and we watched appreciation as people competed and were willing to pay more because of the affordability.
Good point. So people are willing to pay more. Last year, you listed your house at 100,000, you got 98,900. This year, you listed at 100,000, you get $101,700. Yeah. People are paying more than they're asking as long as they're priced within a range, right?
So in that, I mean, if you're going to look at the difference, I mean, you guys, how is that going out there? Is 1% realistic on how it's going? Or do you feel that differently? Because this is an average over all the market. What are you seeing on generally on, is it 101% of list price for you guys?
Is it a little more than that in certain price ranges?
What are you seeing, Casey?
I mean, I know it's more than that because I say if you go 20, 30 over asking, it's definitely more than 1%. So in all of my offers, we've gone hefty price over asking, but we have other tactics too that go into it. So sometimes we don't always go up in price. Sometimes we go into asking, but do other details with the offer that makes it cleaner.
Different strategies, maybe not the price alone. Brian, what are you seeing?
Well, and I think something that, I mean, obviously price, you got to go up. If you come in at asking, you're going to lose. That's kind of what it boils down to right now. We're seeing that you have to go up, but that's not the only consideration, right? I mean, some people, they really care about that high price, and we already know that the homes have appreciated a bonkers amount. So now it's also kind of looking like, well, we want really clean and attractive offer, something that's desirable to kind of make sure that the deal will hold together and stay in place, because these sellers, they don't want to miss out on the all-time highs, right? And so yeah, you have to go high, and you have to be clean.
Well, and this is this market is, I think, what do you think, Jeremy? You have to have a real estate agent that knows what they're doing more in this market than in any market before. But yet, because it's so hot, people think, I don't need someone in this market. But because of the strategy involved in what's going on with selling and buying, and so competitive, and it's not always about price, it is the most essential time to have an agent who's experienced, full-time, and studies the market. Ashley, did you have something?
Yeah, one thing to bear in mind too is that I know that a lot of buyers are like, oh my gosh, I heard my neighbor paid 10, 20, 30K over list price. One thing to bear in mind is there is a difference between over list price and over market value.
Oh, really good point.
Because depending on where that seller listed, so Brian suggests to a seller, hey, your house is worth anywhere from 200 to 220. Let's say you list at 215, you show it for a week, maybe get a couple offers. What if we listed it at 205? And then we get 10 offers, you show it for one day, the market will show you the best of what it can bring you, and you're gonna end up over 220 because of the aggressiveness of the multiple offer situation. And so what our job is, your buyer specialist, is to tell you, number one, where they listed in that range. And if we're offering over list price, it's never over value. And that's something to be super careful about. And there are multiple things, 5+ things that we write in offers that have zero to do with price that are very appealing to sellers and to listing agents. And so
that's where that buyer's consult becomes so essential.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing too is how do you, not only as a buyer in this market, how do you get into something within the first 24 hours that it's listed? And if you're shopping on Zillow, you're not going to. And secondly, even if you do get into it before it's sold, how do you even begin to compete with 10 offers? And I mean 10 offers, right, guys?
I just lost on 14 offers.
Yeah, there's a lot of multiple offers, and we know how to do this, and we do this full time. And let's put the fun back into shopping and call us.
Yeah.
Well, and also in this, we are winning offers. This room is a bunch of agents winning offers every day. If you have an agent that's frustrated, then it's because they're not doing the strategies, Nicole.
One thing I was noticing, I hate to play devil's advocate, but I have just been sending
No, you don't.
I hate to, but I do. So I have some buyers who are not, I don't want to say they're not motivated, they're not in a rush. So I have been sending them all the houses that they have been looking at, that they either put an offer on, that they looked at, and when it finally closes, they are quite surprised it's not 20,000 over list. That may have been the first offer, but then it fell out once, it fell out twice, and now stuff is correcting. So not saying that everything has to be 20,000 over list, that may be the first time, but if you've got a good realtor who's gonna follow that property, they're gonna keep that in that list as soon as it comes back on the market. I had a realtor call me yesterday, she's like, hey, property fell out, you guys are the next best offer. We were 15,000 below the highest offer, and we could jump on there.
But your offer was number 2 because of other strategies.
Because of other strategies, yep, exactly. So it may have been 15 lower, but we had other things that made them secure that she said, hey, I'll call them and I'll bet you it's going to go through.
And that's another point too, is sometimes things are under contract. Yeah. It doesn't mean to say that they're under contract. And that's why you need to have somebody who's following that information, like,
which is
like Nicole
what
said.
a full-time realtor does.
Yeah.
Well, and again, going back to...
Get on that mic, Abby.
So just to kind of go along with what Nicole and Ashley are both saying is, in that initial consult, that initial conversation that you are having with your agent is understanding exactly what the market is doing and understanding what those strategies are going to be before you're even opening up a door.
Consult's so important.
And so the counsel I give my clients is that price it's a guideline. And so then it's not necessarily that we're going to go up. It just goes back to the same thing. There are so many strategies that you put into place, and it is not across the board. It's house specific. And so the strategy is going to change based upon the home that we are bidding on.
And so that's a good point.
And the seller and the agent, because the listing agent, because that can determine all sorts of different facets. So that's, again, I know we're beating a drum here, but that's why it's super important. You have somebody that has a pulse on the market and understands exactly what's going on.
And if they don't ask you to come in and sit down in the office, be wary.
I was just about to say that. That is a major red flag. If they run out and meet you at a house, that is a problem. Because even if you like that house and you decide to offer on that house,
yeah, but what if we did a what if we bought a house a year or two ago?
The market's so different.
The market has literally...
It's not even the same
4 or
thing.
5 months ago.
Jeremy, can I advise that you come in for a consult?
I like how Brian, the listing agent, is like, listen,
Just
if
giggles.
you think this is like it was a year ago, you don't
What's
know.
even more is that we've seen more of a change since last October than we have seen in the entire year.
Yeah.
And so it
Good
changes
point.
quarterly. And one
It's
thing about that
changing
consult
fast.
and that being a red flag about an agent not wanting to prep you, I tell you what we don't want to do and what we try to avoid is we don't want to run out at a house and show you the house and within 3 hours tell you the offer's accepted in 3 hours. Here's all this paperwork you have to sign. Here's what we're advising. What do you think? That is very stressful. If you have not talked to them about that before, we don't want you signing contracts that you don't understand. We don't want you agreeing to terms that you do not fully understand. That is why it is a major red flag if you don't have an agent who wants to prep you on that.
Brian, what did you have to say?
Well, and it kind of is like, you know, someone who bought a home 10 years ago and they give you advice on today's market. Yeah, low ball. You can get it on low ball. No, you can't. Look, you cannot get it on low ball. You take someone's advice from 5 years ago, it's totally different.
Yeah.
And even just dating back 3 months, it is a completely different market. It appreciated 15% in 3 months, which is unprecedented.
Crazy.
I mean, it is a different market, and you have to have today's tactics to win.
Yeah.
You got to
So
have
true.
good information so you can do what?
Make good decisions.
Make good decisions.
Yeah.
One more thing to mention too is that you might think, well, it's okay, and we have time, and our lease isn't up till August. 15% in 3 months. Every house that you do not get that you offer on, that you lose out on, you just paid for it, not by missing it, by paying for whatever rent you're paying and whatever market value you are losing
Great point.
that you're going to have to pay more for.
Because someone else
Great point.
gained that 15% in their
Exactly.
savings account by owning the house.
By the time you get to closing, in this market right now, just based on the last 3 months, you have already gained equity.
Yep.
That's
It's crazy.
awesome.
Before you even
So
know
to
it.
wrap all that up into one word, Brian likes to call a nice, good, clean offer. Starts with an S and ends with a...
Imple.
I was going to say sexy.
all the ladies just swooned all over the world. All right, so market is going crazy. Look at that, overpriced. This is no surprise. Days on the market from last year, 50% almost down. And year to date, there it is, 50 exactly. Boom. It's crazy, no surprise. So here's the inventory. You wanted to talk about this, right, Jess?
Yeah. So this inventory, this is of course nationwide. So it's not unique in Idaho Falls. Our inventory shortage is not unique in Idaho Falls. And Gary Keller talks about when the crash happened back in 2009, we had a bunch of builders building, because it was easy for them to get financing. So they were building spec homes and we had lots of inventory. Well, when the crash happened and a lot of builders lost their shirts, they didn't come back in when we started to recover. So we have had a shortage of new construction, which has continued to press down on the existing. There's a backlog of all of that. And we see that right here in Idaho Falls. Yeah. So we've got 3.1 months of inventory nationwide, but that is not how Idaho Falls is going.
Here you go. Go here.
This is it. So we right now, as of right now, have 91 homes currently on the market. And that is up for, this is what I was going to say, you guys. It's up over last year.
And Jess, is that just Bonneville County?
Snake River Valley,
This is Bonneville, Jefferson, Bingham.
Yeah.
So this is, of those three, we have 91 homes, and we'll show you in a second. Last month, oh wait, go back one more time.
Sorry.
Last month we were at 62. So we're starting to see people, once it starts to warm up in Idaho, people are willing to move, right? So we're seeing a little increase. But what did we see? A decrease in closed sales, which has put a couple ticks on the market and having some on the inventory, right? But our absorption rate. So go back one slide, Jeremy.
You got it.
Nationwide, it's a huge shortage at 3.1 months. Now us, we're at 0.38 months. Let's just say 12 days.
And per price range.
Yeah.
You can't really tell what's going on here. Why is that so many?
On the current inventory? That means that if they're overpriced, they're still going to sit.
So that's just current inventory.
That is, as of yesterday, this is what's sitting on the market in 3 counties.
Well, and just to explain days on market, I've had some people not totally understand what that means.
Yeah.
Days on market means that if no other homes came on the market today, we'd be out of inventory in 6 days. And so I just have had some confusion, so I thought I would clarify.
Great,
I appreciate that.
And this is just right this second. We're taking one snapshot of the moment in the market, which doesn't tell you much in this market.
So you'll notice on this one, the pressure, there's 23 homes above $500,000.
Yeah.
That's not everyone's price range. So you've got some inventory sitting at 23 homes, but if you're trying to stay under $500,000, which used to be the luxury of luxury in Idaho Falls, there's 68 homes.
All right, that's a great point. How about this, Jess?
So this is just Idaho Falls. So this is within the 5 Idaho Falls high school boundaries. So when I say Idaho Falls, 49, which is up from last month. Again, the same thing. But again, we're at 9 days.
9 days.
If you want to buy a house in the Idaho Falls high school boundaries.
And
Idaho
so
Falls
that, that includes Ammon, correct?
Yeah, so that'll be Idaho Falls High School, Skyline, Thunder Ridge, Hillcrest, and Bonneville.
So no more houses come on the market after today. There's 49 available. They'll be gone in 9 days. That is your absorption rate.
Yep.
Just like a sponge. All the
buyers absorbs. How long until the market absorbs our inventory? So on this right here, here's a breakdown of where we're at in Idaho Falls. So again, you see, you may feel that idea of 49 homes, right? But in reality, you've got 35 if you don't want to pay $500,000. You have 35 to choose from. So now go into my price range is 250.
Yeah.
How many of those? Because you've got 12, and it's going down into that pressure point.
Good point. Here are the quick snapshot over time on interest rates. So they have been moving, right? And just this is over since 2014, and so it's just showing through December. But even last week and the week before, we had some movement, right?
Yes.
Pretty substantial movement.
Yeah.
What did it do, Hunter, in the last? I mean, did it go up the last week or so? It changed a few times, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We've seen it increase, a few points, and then even come down a little bit and decrease. So there's some movement in the market for sure. And, but ultimately right now it's still extremely low. So now is still a great time to look at, refinancing or even, looking at selling your home to buy, as Ashley would put, your dream home. Just because money is very cheap right now.
That's good.
And it was a little scare. I don't know how everybody else felt. When that rate ticked up above 3% for a little while, I felt the scare that I feel like is coming.
Yeah.
Right, with the
a little bit of rattle in the cage, right?
That was, it rattled my cage.
Hey, look at 1980.
Yeah.
Good thing I have this laser pointer.
Yeah, now you're like, and this is
Look at that though, 16%.
So back in the 80s,
It's like a credit card.
it's like a credit card. In the 80s, sellers, when you bought your house, the seller paid points to buy your rate down.
That's right.
You would offer a price, and then they would pay to buy your rate down to afford the house. It was nuts.
Crazy. So here's what things are, 2.875. If you got a 15-year ability to make a higher monthly, you can be at 2.25.
A month ago, that was below 2 and 2.25 for 30-year.
That's right. So keep an eye on it.
Yeah, yeah.
You going nosy neighbor?
That's right. So nosy neighbors, you guys know we love nosy neighbors. We love our local businesses. So in this, just to let you know who we visited, I want to give you guys a little idea. If you don't know, let me go. Oh, I got it.
Go ahead
and laser. All right.
I'll be the laser pointer.
The Warehouse is a really neat furniture refurbishing store, and it's a co-op of local, and they're all women business owners locally. So it's a really cool place to go. Geraldine's Bake Shop and Deli. I mean, they've been around forever.
Delicious.
It was amazing. And we have been eating gluten-free bread and rolls from Geraldine's since that day.
My mouth's watering.
So it was awesome. Code 4 Auto Detail was amazing. It's a local police officer who does auto detailing on site and very affordable prices.
Code 4.
There it is. That's all right, ma'am. I called it Phase 4, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Code 4. The Bookshelf is the only used bookstore in town now. Very cool, but you can shop online. And so you can go in and turn books in and get credit and buy new books, especially kids' books. Very cool, very cool. Kids Town was awesome. A great place to take kids. It's a learning-based experience that's science, and they have earthquakes, and you learn things, and there's little stores. Anyway, it's a fantastic area to go in.
And it's not just for kids, because I had a ball.
A ball. You did have a ball. He was pretty great. And then 7 Horse Ranch, if you didn't know that you can hire a unicorn to come to your next birthday party, it's got glittery tail and mane, and it was pretty awesome. They'll bring it to your house.
They'll bring a giant horse to your house with the unicorn right here.
Yeah. And sparkly, and they'll give pony ride.
It was awesome.
Awesome.
So where do you find all these videos so you can know?
Nosy Neighbors on Facebook.
Hit it.
So check us out on Facebook, and we've got some really fun ones coming up this month.
So that's the market we're in.
That's right.
It's moving, it's changing. Call us, make sure you know what you're getting into if you're going to buy or sell, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, you guys.
That's a wrap.
If you want to be in the know on the value of your home, then click on the link or give us a call.
You may feel like prices are high, but there has never been a better time to sell your home and buy a home. Call us and we'll explain why.
Our team has outpaced the market in dollars per home sold and time on the market. If you want to see how your home would sell and how much it would sell for, give us a call.
If you love the idea of having someone to contact at any time, that's the benefit of a team. Give us a call, let us talk about your process and how you can have a better experience, a more satisfying experience in real estate with Murdock Manwaring Company.